2012's The Avengers is directed and written by Joss Whedon and stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, and Jeremy Renner as the Avengers. This is the first big milestone for the MCU. It's the end of Phase 1, and it just proves that the concept of the shared universe can work. In 2012, that was a huge thing that not only could the superhero team-up movie be made, it could be made well. It was hailed as the best superhero movie ever made, better than The Dark Knight, better than Superman the movie, better than Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, best superhero movie all time. And of course, when something big like this happens, we tend to over-exaggerate certain things. And I think now that time has passed, we are able to judge this movie a little more accurately. Now, I get it. We all freaked out when it came out. I freaked out when it came out. Comic book fans had been waiting for something like this. This is something that we only could have dreamed about until it actually happened. We were able to see all of our favorite heroes fight together on the big screen. That's a huge moment. The one-shot circling the Avengers surrounded by the Chitauri with Alan Silvestri's incredible Avengers theme blasting through the speakers is just as triumphant and powerful for the audience as it is within the context of the movie. But, and I really hate saying this in almost every review I've done, but I gotta be honest, some of the effect has worn off. When you see something for the first time, it's exciting. Especially when that something is something you've been waiting for your entire life. But now we have to assess it on its merits as a movie and not the huge event that it was. First of all, I think the first act is very slow. It's mostly just character intros that we don't really need, considering the fact that the whole point of the first 5 movies was so that we didn't have to do these character introductions. I mean, there's some good jokes during that time. I mean, the movie's very funny, but there's not a whole lot character-wise going on in those moments except for maybe Black Widow and Bruce Banner. Everything else kind of feels like an exposition dump. One of the big problems that I have with this movie is the forced conflict between the Avengers. I know that this movie is mostly about people who don't really get along but need to band together so that they can save the world. That's all great and everything, and when they do band together it's fantastic, but everything before that doesn't really work for me. Everyone's just kind of an asshole to each other for no reason. Thor just pretty much immediately starts beating the shit out of Iron Man for no reason. It makes the same temper tantrum decision that he made in his own movie where he starts an avoidable conflict because someone called him a name. So all the progress he made as a character in the first one, bye. See ya. Doesn't matter. He's just still an asshole who's going to beat the shit out of people if they hurt his feelings a little bit. Captain America does the same thing, where he just immediately starts being confrontational and kind of a dick to Tony Stark because he made a couple of jokes. It's just so ridiculous, and for me, it feels out of character. I mean, all the reasons I listed in my first Avenger review for loving Captain America kind of fade away when he's just being an asshole to Tony Stark for no reason. Like, you're telling me that Captain America is some frat bro who's gonna keep yelling at Tony Stark to put on the suit so they can have some fucking fist fight in an alley somewhere? It's fucking bullshit. That's not Captain America. I might be a little less harsh on this if Marvel literally didn't do this better 2 years later in Guardians of the Galaxy. There's actually motivation behind them fighting each other. You know, each of them has a goal that another member of the group is standing in the way of. Peter Quill wants to sell the orb, Gamora wants to sell it to someone who will protect it, and Rocket and Groot want the bounty on Quill's head. They're motivated against each other, and later when they do have to work together, they do. And by doing that, they learn to love each other through the course of the movie. It feels like the characters in the Avengers are just puffing their chests out, and that completely goes against what Captain America believes in, or at least what I believe Captain America is as a character. And I just don't think the conflict between any of them works. And that's half of the movie. And I know there's the whole, but Loki Scepter made him do it. But I don't buy that. It's not like they all fight each other for no reason when Vision's around. Oh, shit. You know what, guys? I made a bad call. I really did. I really made a bad call, and I apologize. You know, Truly, I hope you can forgive me, but let's move on, please. Let's forget that it happened. And yeah, I get that argument, but Loki's scepter making them do it feels kinda lazy to me. There's nothing behind that. It's just there to move the plot forward and make sure that stuff that the movie wants to happen happens. And I just don't find that kind of storytelling interesting. Now, when the second half kicks in and the Avengers actually start doing interesting things and are motivated by interesting things, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, that moment when they do come together is special. And it's an awesome moment. The action itself is great. I mean, it follows them all and gives them all good moments to use their own unique set of powers and showcase their own unique way of doing things. I wish the stakes were a little bit higher, but then again, this movie's supposed to be fun. And it's not supposed to be the dark and weightier movie that something like Infinity War is. Loki is a good enough villain for all of us to cheer at when the Hulk just fucking throws them all over the place. All of the characters in the movie are given really solid moments to shine during the Battle of New York. I think it's an incredible action sequence. As far as performances, yeah, they're all good. I mean, I've talked already at length about how good certain actors are at playing certain characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I don't necessarily feel the need to go too deep into that right now, but yeah, I mean, there's fine. I don't think there's a bad performance in the bunch. As far as people I guess I haven't talked about, Samuel L. Jackson is tailor-made for this role. I mean, he's perfect. Scarlett Johansson gets to finally shine as Black Widow, unlike when she was just kind of pushed to the side in Iron Man 2. Mark Ruffalo does the good job of making the Hulk his own and replacing Edward Norton. The only person I truly feel terrible for is Jeremy Renner. I've just always felt pretty bad that he gets sidelined for 2/3 of the movie. I'm a fan of Jeremy Renner. I think he's a great actor. I love him in other movies like The Town and Wind River, which if you haven't seen, I highly recommend. He's one of my favorite parts of Age of Ultron, and, I just wish that he was given a chance in this movie to more spread his wings as Hawkeye instead of just getting sidelined and having to wait until Age of Ultron to really shine as the character. As far as Joss Whedon's direction, I've never really liked how this movie looked. I don't know what it is about it, whether it's the color palette or just how the sets look, but I don't know. There's just something kind of artificial about how it looks that I've always wished wasn't the way it looked. Like I said, the pacing is really off in the first half, and it really shows after years of rewatching it. But like I said, though, I think the Battle of New York is an incredible and well-filmed action sequence, and I also really love the sequence where the Hulk chases Black Widow through kind of the lower levels of the helicarrier. I think just like in The Incredible Hulk, it's really well done in the way that it actually mimics more of a horror movie and puts the Hulk in the role of the monster and hides him in shadows and some smoke, and I think it's a really well done sequence. Overall, as far as Whedon and the job he did, I think he's hit or miss, but I think he hits way more than he misses. Which I think any fan of Whedon knows that his beginnings are always a little bit rough. So, it's par for the course, but, this was the movie I was most excited for in the world when it came out. So, I wanted a little more out of the first half of this movie. The Avengers is a huge milestone for the superhero genre as a whole, and it's a really fun time. But it just doesn't have the kind of weight that I wanted out of the Avengers' first team up. I give the Avengers a 3.5 out of 5. I just think certain movies like Civil War and Infinity War really do a better job of doing this kind of superhero team up and converging of the universe and its characters. But, I mean, the first one across the finish line it's a special thing. And I get that, and I get what it did for the genre, but, I just wish it had a little more punch to it, that's all. So how do you guys feel about the Avengers 6 years later? Is it still the superhero genre masterpiece that it was hailed as when it was released? Or are you like me where you think it's it's fun, but like it has some problems. Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like it and share it. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on my Twitter and Instagram accounts, which I will have a link for down in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.